Hello boys and girls, and welcome back to art. This week we are creating a landscape using foreground, midground, and background. We are going to be using pencil to draw in our foreground, midground, and background, and then we're going to Sharpie over it, erase our pencil lines, and then color in with marker and color pencils and crayons, any materials you have available to you to color this in. You can even use watercolor paint. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is create our foreground. So in the foreground, we're going to put some nice big flowers. They are closest to us, so we want them to be really big because they are very close up. We can even have some going off the page. So I created these semicircles, kind of like an arch shape to make the flowers really big. And now I'm going to make some petals that are kind of like a big arch or U shape. Maybe they have a point at the top. But we want to make sure that they are nice and big because they are the closest thing to us when we're looking at our landscape. As we go farther and farther into the picture, they're going to start getting smaller and smaller details. So I can do different kinds of petals. So I'm doing some big arches for this next flower. Maybe some kind of small but a little bit bigger, like a medium-sized arch for this next flower. And for my last flower, maybe I'll make them nice and big like before. Some of them are overlapping, so you might see some of the flower, you might see a little bit, but not all of it. All right, so we have our nice big flowers in the front, and we can add some designs and details that go inside each flower, since we would see very clearly the different details close up. Kind of like if you think about under a microscope, you can see those images or those details really clearly compared to when it's really far away. So we have our foreground. We are actually going to make some water between our foreground and our background. So as we go into the midground, we're going to make some ocean waves. So we're going to draw a spiral that keeps going around. So it goes around and then curves down to the edge. And we're going to follow that curve until we get about towards the outside, and we're going to trace it in so that it creates an ocean wave. So we're going to do that again. Draw a spiral, curves down, and then about where you see that line coming there on the outside, we're going to draw a parallel line that curves and goes to the edge. We can draw a nice big one for a third one. Create that line going to there. And then we're going to draw some wavy lines for the water. And then we're going to repeat those wavy lines all the way down to our flowers. And maybe it goes behind and overlaps, so we don't see all of the details from that wave. Keep going around. All right, now we're going to start thinking about the background. So this is the foreground, this is the midground. Now we have our background, and we're going to draw some big hills in our background. Have lots of lines that repeat. Maybe there's another hill over here, and And we'll add one more hill because it's getting farther and farther away. The last thing that we're going to draw is a sunset. So we have a big sun setting on our landscape, and we're going to draw some diagonal lines that go from the sun to the edge of our paper all the way around the sun. So it's like the beams of light. That radiate from the sun all the way around. Maybe we can't see this part of the sun, but there's still a beam of light going there. Maybe we can't see the next one, but there's still a beam of light going there. So it goes all the way around. We can draw some dots and make different patterns in each part of our landscape. We can draw some zigzag lines, loopy lines, bumpy lines, lots of different types of lines. Maybe this is still the ocean, so we should still see some ocean in here. There we go, behind our waves. Add some loopy lines in here. So we have lots of different patterns in each part of our design that we're creating. But we are creating a foreground up close, a midground in the middle, and then a background, making it much smaller. The hills are going farther and farther away. We can even add like a teeny tiny little hill in the very far distance, and maybe some zigzag lines on that hill. There we go. Add one more wavy, loopy line right there. All right, so now we have our design, and so we can add some more shapes and patterns inside our flowers, maybe some dots for the seeds in the center of our flowers. We can draw some straight lines that go around the flower center. Straight lines that go around the center of our flower. We're thinking about patterns, repetition, and foreground, midground, and background. So things in the front are really close up. Things in the back are really far away. All right? So now that we have our design drawn out, we are going to use our Sharpie and trace over all of our pencil lines nice and neatly and taking our time. Pencil lines, I am going to use crayons to color in my foreground, midground, and background. You are welcome to use markers, color pencils, watercolor, anything you have available to you to color in your landscape. So I'm going to start coloring in. All right, boys and girls, here you have our foreground, midground, and background using patterns. So you can see I created different patterns in my art, different lines to create different patterns, okay, and then coloring in nice and neatly so that we stay inside the lines. It's okay if we make some mistakes, like using a color that we didn't mean to use, as long as we are trying to see how we can fix our mistakes and turn them into something different or something else, or trying to cover them up the best that we can. I cannot wait to see your
foreground, midground, and background landscapes. I hope you enjoy creating this project, and we'll see you next time.